editing images. We've gone out, we've shot, we've imported, we've backed up, we've chosen the images we want to edit. Now we need to actually edit them. Editing images, I can't tell you one thing you should do with all your images to make them look good, because every image is slightly different. Every image has slightly different things you need to do to rescue, to enhance, and to make the image look better. Some images work better in black and white, some in color. So, there's too many possibilities for me just to give you a blanket feel. And despite the fact that all images are different, I do generally have or change the same things by varying amounts. So I'm going to work through that. Now, this is the image we decided out, or I decided at least, out of the series of images of the tiger that I like the most. I think it's got interesting light, it's nice and sharp. This is the one that I like the most, and this is the one I'm going to run through the edits. So on Lightroom, where before we were on Library, you need to change to the Develop module. And in the Develop module, when it loads, in the Develop module, this is where you can change everything. This is where you can do all your enhancements. Now, the first thing I do is I look at the histogram, and I automatically see that the exposure is definitely to the darker side. I actually kind of like this. This was actually a dark image. We were in the forest, there were trees. You can see there is shafts of light coming through and hitting the tiger. One of the things I actually like. I actually think I'm going to increase the exposure just a little bit. Just a little bit, so it's actually more towards the center. The next thing I'm going to change is in the contrast. Let's just bump up the contrast just a little bit, okay? Now I feel it's a bit more contrasty. The shadows, well, there aren't really many shadows here, so I'm not going to play around with the shadows. The highlights, the same. There isn't many highlights. This is the highlights, this is the shadows. There's no shadow detail I want to get out of the subject, which is the tiger, and there's no highlights I need to require back. So these two I'm going to miss. Whites and blacks are good. I like whites, particularly blacks, because what I change with blacks, if I change the blacks down, you're going to see the colours come out a lot more. And that looks okay. It's quite contrasty. So I've got a bit of contrast. I've moved down the blacks. That enhances the colours, particularly on these very flat images. Clarity, be careful. If you do too much clarity, you'll get the noise coming up in your image. I like clarity, but just a bit. So what I usually do is I'll zoom into 100%. I will look at the target, and I'll just increase. I never increase it more than, say, 15%, because it can be quite harsh. Just a little bit of clarity. I'll go up to 14. It's a nice image, very little noise. It was ISO 800 on my camera. That's fantastic. And vibrancy, I zoom out to see the whole frame, and I'll just increase the vibrancy just a little bit, 15 again. Okay, so that's it. Very few edits. The adjustments I've made, I think, work.